Anniversary celebration, such a happy time. And you know, in the year 2019, there were some pretty big newsworthy anniversaries. The most notable, I would think, would be the 50th anniversary of the Rock and Roll Love Fest, Woodstock. Well, this week we're in the beautiful Nova Scotia town of Antigonish, where not one but two anniversaries are being celebrated. Now, I'm only suggesting that they're so cool that maybe even Woodstock might be relegated to, well, just yesterday's news. The first, Riverside International Speedway, began racing the same year as Woodstock in 1969. And then there's Canadian NASCAR champion LP Dumoulin. His family is celebrating a half century behind the wheel. Let's begin with the racetrack.
I actually go back to 1969 with this racetrack, aging myself, I guess. My dad raced here, so I was only small back then, but very, very good memories. Well, we have race fans running the racetrack, so everybody's really passionate, but the Chisholm family, it's a family tradition. John is Donald's father. Donald now runs the track. Donald's daughter Emily is now racing, so Riverside International Speedway is in good hands.
I'm 43. The racetrack was built in 1969, opened in 69. I guess my dad was probably 23-ish at the time, so decided he wanted to build a racetrack. I think he had a vision, and it's like, I guess if you build it, they will come. But the track is modeled after Bristol in Tennessee. It's a shrunken version of Bristol, so it makes for a really good race. You can race side by side. You've got two grooves as an option. It's a great facility, and it's attracted some pretty big names. Benny Parsons has been here, Mark Martin, Brad Keselowski. When guys come in to race here, they usually don't walk away with a win very, very easily because the competition's pretty stiff.
Riverside is all about family tradition for the Lawrences. I was born in '72, so I've been selling programs here since 1977 with my brothers. When you think Riverside, you think two names in my mind. You think John Chisholm, who built this absolute beautiful facility, and Jerry Lawrence.
So here they are anyway, coming out of turn 4, and the race is on. They're in turn 4. Oh, it looks like Frank Fraser is up against the wall. That's no different. He's always up against the wall. I had a call one day from John Chisholm of Antigonish, and he said, "How you doing?" I said, "Good, bye." "How you doing, bye?" I said, "I'm doing good." He said, "I want you to come down and do my announcing for you." And I said, "Well, I'm doing Drag City now." And he said, "That's okay. You're going to do this on Sunday afternoon." So I said, "Okay." So I said, "Well, try it." So I came down, and I was the first announcer in 1969 to be here. And that's about the story, I guess.
We've been pretty proud of the facility since it's been rebuilt, and think it's probably up there with what's as good in the region and maybe the country. So, to celebrate 50 years is pretty special, and try to build it in a fashion that it would last and be here for lots of years. And I don't know if we'll get another 50 out of it or not, but we'll try.
We're excited. We would love for people to come visit Riverside International Speedway. It has become a destination. We run 4 events a year. RiversideSpeedway.ca, you'll find out everything you need to know.
So the 50th anniversary, and we're here at Riverside Speedway, just outside of Antigonish. And what a beautiful day. Thank God and thank the weatherman for the beautiful sunny day. Of course, it's always sunny in Antigonish. So thank you so much. I appreciate being on your show. Great show.
Well, first of all, I wasn't there 50 years ago, but 50 years later, here we are. I mean, my brother and I were racing full-time as professionals. It's just a dream come true.
Well, I'm thinking of you down in Mexico, feeling free as the air. Free air? What a concept. Oh, thank you, sir. More later on, Kenzie's Corner, still going nowhere.
Motoring TV is brought to you in part by Stark Auto Sales.
Everybody's looking for deals, and with us, this is really the better way to buy a car. They'll get a good car much cheaper than they'll get anywhere else.
Stark Auto Sales, a better way to buy a car. Motoring TV is brought to you in part by WeatherTech. Help secure your cargo with CargoTech. A super grippy underside ensures your goods remain stable. Find out more at weathertech.ca, because nothing protects like WeatherTech.
It's one of the most anticipated launches of the year. On this edition of Test Drive, the Toyota Supra. And that little GR badge, Gazoo Racing. It all started in 1979 and continued through 4 generations of Supra, each of which was an improvement. The original was really only a derivative of the Celica. Fortunately, subsequent cars went on to earn some serious street cred. While Toyota teased with the promise of a new model back in 2014, the FT1 concept has remained just that. Since then, Toyota has teased time and again. Finally, the real deal arrives. This time, the 5th gen is very heavily based on BMW Z4, but it has a style it can call its own. Love it or hate it. Now, the cabin of this Supra is tight, but it's beautifully crafted. Great materials, fantastic seats. Now, Toyota's contribution in all of this pretty much boils down to the instrumentation and the logo on the steering wheel. Everything else comes from BMW, from iDrive, the touchscreen, the climate controls, to the stalks on the steering column, all stock BMW. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, it's just that it tends to rob the Supra of its own personality. The Supra's 3-litre inline turbocharged 6 again comes from BMW. It produces 335 horsepower and a healthy 365 pound-feet of torque from 1600 RPM. The twin-scroll turbo does a very good job of ensuring there's no lag off the line. The result is a willing and supremely smooth workhorse that manages to produce its sweetness without regard for engine speed. Yes, it really is that flexible and oh so strong. Now, this Supra is supremely quick. 100k comes in 4.3 seconds, but it's the mid-range that really impresses. This thing does the 80 to 120 passing trick in about 3 seconds, and the engine just keeps pulling. The fact that it sounds the part when it's given its all, it just cements its appeal. The engine feeds the power to the rear wheels through an 8-speed automatic transmission with paddle shifters and an active limited slip differential. The beauty of the setup is that it's very good at getting the power down even when the gas pedal is hammered. The active differential is electronically controlled and fully variable, so it does a good job of getting the power to the wheel with the best traction. It also prevents all of the power from being spun off if the inside rear wheel lifts mid-corner. Now, this swoopy back end does have its drawbacks, and it's namely cargo capacity. There is a pass-through between the front seats, but it's pretty much redundant, and that little lot, 290 litres. Yes, that's enough to get away for the weekend, but that's about it. The adaptive suspension delivers on both sides of the spectrum. In normal mode, it's comfortable. In sport mode, it hunkers down and dials out unwanted body roll. Factor in the 50-50 weight distribution, superb steering, monster tyres, and the Supra goes where it's pointed in a serious hurry. In individual mode, the driver can tailor everything from the engine and suspension to the rear diff to suit with both normal and sport settings. What's missing, however, is a full-on one-touch sport mode. Finally, the 4-piston Brembo brakes make sure everything comes to a halt without fading into oblivion. Now, this new Supra really is a gem. It is very fast, it handles like the dickens, and it turns heads wherever it goes. Yes, some will lament the amount of BMW in its DNA, but but when all's said and done, it is a complete package and a hoot to drive.
Motoring TV is brought to you in part by Tirecraft Auto Centers. Tirecraft, real people servicing real life. Motoring TV is brought to you in part by Silver Wax Premium Canadian Car Care Products.
We're really working to make it super easy, super efficient, and fast for the consumer. You know, just get that beautiful car you're looking for with as little effort as possible.
I think it's the place of power, nature, and beauty, and you can find anything here, from bears and salmon and there to the ocean and forests. So therefore, we thought that where would you launch a very powerful and beautiful car, as we thought about this beautiful and powerful place, Kamchatka.
Our motoring tip of the week comes from an email from one of our regular viewers, Chris Perro. And he says, "Hi Bill, always wanted your opinion on the electronic rust prevention systems that are offered and installed by dealerships. Are they effective? Are they worth the cost? Are they a waste of money? Thanks for your tips." So Chris, I have several customers that I regularly look after their cars that actually have these systems on. But you know, Chris, I haven't seen a big enough cross-section to say definitively yay or nay on whether they're good. I'm a little bit skeptical about the cost of these things because when I look at the electronic hardware, it's usually under the hood very close to the battery on the vehicle. So when I'm servicing the battery, I'm dealing with it. I really question if you're really getting $600, $700, $800 worth of hardware when you look at what's under the hood. Now, I've had feedback from viewers of our show, and everybody wants to kick tires and talk cars with me when I meet them on the street. And I've had both sides of this story. I've had pro and I've had con. I've had some people say, yes, it worked for me. Others say, complete waste of time. What it basically is it attaches to the battery on your car, and it applies a weak charge to the body of your car, and it's supposed to inhibit rust. Of course, anything that inhibits rust in the Canadian environment is a good thing for your car, right? Is it effective? I think we need somebody to do a scientific study on this to really properly say if it's good or not. But I'll tell you, Chris, I'll tell you what really does work in the Canadian environment, and that's oil spraying your car. We've got two majors in the market in Canada. We've got Crown, we've got Rust Check, and we've got some minor players as well. There may be guys in your area doing it as well under different names, and they're all pretty effective because they coat those metal parts, the lower extremities of the car, the bottom of the tailgate, for example, the drip edge of the doors, all those areas of sheet metal where you've got multiple layers of sheet metal, possibly bonded together or tack welded together. The oil gets in there and it really does protect them. It's a little bit messy, but you know, I've got customers that have been using it for years, and it really, really is effective. And I'll tell you, I wish I'd used it myself on some of my own vehicles. I procrastinated, didn't do it, thought I was going to get rid of them, trade them in, whatever. All of a sudden, years down the road, I've got a great running vehicle with new tires on it, new brakes, and it's rusty. I lose interest in even washing it. You know, it just, your pride in your ownership of your vehicle just disappears when you start to see that rust. Our crew truck's another example. Really wish we'd got at it sooner. So certainly the oil spray, definitely something I'd recommend. That's your motoring tip of the week.
First of all, I wasn't there 50 years ago, but my dad sure was, and his brother and my mom and her brothers and family as well. Everybody was involved in racing 50 years ago, and then we're just passionate about it. 50 years later, here we are. I mean, my brother and I were racing full-time as professional. It's just a dream come true. It's been a dream come true for more than 10 years now with the NASCAR series, but as well as with all the other series we've done, endurance and then Formula cars. So it's been 25 years for me being in the racing industry. Last weekend we were at the Trois-Rivières Grand Prix, which was celebrating 50 years of racing as well as a Grand Prix. And then we were, as a family, celebrating 50 years. And my brother and I finished on the podium, both on the podium, during that race in NASCAR Pinty Series. My dad was actually leading, on the track with a Mini Cooper, same style as he had in the days that he was racing. He was doing the pace lap, for us in front of the whole NASCAR field, which was the first time we were, the three of us, on the same time on the track. And it was epic. I mean, there was nothing like it. We will remember that day, that moment forever.
That was perfect. With the green flag in hand, we are off with a bumper-to-bumper 300.
I have two sons. Louis is 3 years, and then Victor is 9 months now. And then JF has two boys as well. We will see. If they want to go racing, they'll have to work really hard, because we were a family with not much money. My dad is a gym teacher, mechanic teacher, and then my mom was working really hard with us. We didn't have much money to go racing, and it's really hard to go up the ladder in this industry. So we'll see. If they want to do it, we'll work, but they have to work really hard as well.
LP Dumoulin in that WeatherTech 47 just made a pass on camera, and Brett Taylor gets into the back of the GM Paillet number 22. They both had to check up.
LP is making to look 2 in a row, winning at Trois-Rivières last weekend. Now he's underneath Donald Teege, and he'll try and work his way into the top 5. The problem for the 47 of LP Dumoulin.
LP Dumoulin in the WeatherTech 47 angles his car into the pit road. Could it be a broken rear drive axle? I wonder if they are pulling axles out of that race car. And remember, this was a driver who was trying to climb back into the championship chase.
We are a defending champion as a team. The WeatherTech Benmar car has been very good all season long. We had a really good season so far. I mean, knocking on wood, but we keep the faith. We just show up every weekend with the idea of winning races, but as well as, being top 5 podium every race weekend.
Got confirmation from the pits it indeed was a rear axle issue with the 47 of Dumoulin. He is now back on the lead lap. That is amazing.
Wouldn't that be a comeback story if LP Dumoulin is able to get back to the front?
LP Dumoulin to the inside of Alex Labbé as they go side by side.
This is the Dumoulin competition team. How they, everything they do first class. We feel that they're at a standard that we are very proud of. And he's constantly promoting. I'm sure you can see him behind me right now, and he's promoting WeatherTech. Wherever they go, whether they're down here, if it's one of the races out west, he's always on TV, on a CTV morning show, a City TV morning show. He's the only driver that gets airtime on TV, and it's because of Dumoulin competition.
During the autograph session, I got myself a mini WeatherTech format.
Well, and if I can get about 30 more of these, I think I can line my truck with them.
Jessica puts all that together. LP shows up and is constantly selling WeatherTech for us, and we can't thank him enough for that.
Here comes LP Dumoulin, cracking in the top 5 and looking to snag 4th.
WeatherTech for us is like a big family. I mean, we're, we are business partner, but we are friends and we're family and we take care of each other. I want to win for my family, my friends, my fans, but I want to win for those guys because they are my friends, they are my fans, and they are my family. So I want WeatherTech up front every weekend, every race, and for me, every time that I'm going to race, it's like a blessing. So I just want to do well, and believe me, we'll work really hard at it.
If you consider Motoring TV has been on the air for 30 plus years, there's no doubt you've missed a few episodes. Well, there's a couple of ways you can catch up and make sure you don't miss anything. First, you can go to YouTube and look up just segments or complete shows. Also, if you want to know what we're doing, like today on a daily basis, just go to our Facebook page. And also, you can go to motoringtvshop.com, get some cool swag. Oh, there's also that Instagram thing.
Turn the stupid things off. What cave have you guys been living in? And we're the idiots? Relax, I'm just kidding. Well, duh. Why would you want to do something like that? Makes sense. Things are not equal. Hey, it could happen. Petro-Canada is installing electric recharging stations at a lot of their filling stations across the country. The first one happens to be in my hometown, Milton, Ontario. It's going to be nice that I can charge my electric car anytime I want, as if. There's going to be 32 of these facilities, coast to coast, and there's going to be not one, but 2 charging stations at each filling station. 64 of these across the entire country. Frankly, that should be enough. But the weirdest thing about all this, for the moment anyway, the electricity is free. Now, Canada has the highest electricity charges just about in the entire world, but Petro-Canada somehow is giving it away. And yet 100 meters away in that same station, there's the air pump. And when you want to fill up your tires, that'll be $1.50. What? Air costs money and electricity is free? Who's running this shop? Now, the provincial government recently dumped their bribe to electric car buyers. I always figured if I'm paying for 1/7 of the car with my taxes, I should get to drive it 1 day a week. So what does the federal government do? They're giving people money to buy electric cars. Again, $5,000, something like that. It's insane. Again, I should get to drive that car. But it comes back to another popular song. Bonnie Raitt, her very first album, she had a song about, well, it was the oldest profession in the world. And one of the lines was, if I can't sell it, I'm going to keep sitting on it. Never catch me giving it away. And if you give electricity away, how are you ever going to get people to pay for it? I'm Jim Kenzie.
Motoring TV! The best show on television! Don't miss it!
You're the best. You know, for more than 31 years, we've been bringing you stories of cars and the people who drive them. And that includes the men and women who drive cars for a living. And what have we experienced out here at Riverside Speedway in Antigonish, Nova Scotia? Well, for me, it reminds me why I love the Maritimes. I mean, for people like us from away, they welcome us like we're old friends. And you can buy that with LP Dumoulin and his family. I think it's pretty cool how cars and the people who drive them are paying tribute to their past, the present, and the future. And 50 years and counting. That's it for now. We'll see you next time out as we continue to bring you more stories about cars and the people who drive them.